Okay, we live. I get a lot of people hitting me up in my DMs. Most of the time, it's some jackass trying to sell me something. If it's not the Bitcoin guys, it's the cryptocurrency guys. If it's not what's your Cash App guy, it's do you need some artwork guy. And don't let me get started about the guy saying I'm a social media marketer.
And don't forget the fake DJs that work for Hot 97.
Right. They pretty much have me scared to even look in my DMs. So I got to be honest, it takes me a while to get to people legitimately trying to connect and network. But every once in a while, when I do get the chance to weed through the BS, I find some gems. Because of this, I have slept on a lot of stuff. But like I say, sometimes I find something that's worth it. Today, I'm bringing you somebody that I found in my DMs that hit me up. And as usual, it took me forever to get to him because I'm weeding through all of this garbage. But I found somebody that had a lot of stuff going on for him that I feel like my audience needs to hear about. So without further ado, I want to introduce my man Devious One, aka Micky Bluntz. How you
Thanks for
doing, brother?
having me.
No problem. So tell first of all, tell the people where you from.
I'm from Toronto, Canada. I was born in the city, spent some time up north, just north of the city, migrated back to the city just to get this music hustle on because there's no other place than a big city, you know? When you're trying to do music in a small town, it just doesn't work because just the cost of traveling and networking doesn't work as well.
That's what's up. Um, can you tell us a little bit about your background as far as your family and upbringing type thing?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up with two deaf parents, so that gave me the appreciation of music like some people don't have. Just growing up with two parents that just weren't able to, hear the beautiful sounds of music and just the melodies and the stories that we get to hear. They have to rely on closed caption, or like an interpreter, which you're seeing a lot at festivals nowadays is interpreters catering to the deaf people in the crowd. So that's good to see. I grew up in the city. My parents weren't really like a big musical influence on me. I know a lot of people that I talk with, they explain to me how their parents influenced them this way and that way. So hip hop raised me. Once I found hip hop, somebody handed me a Big Daddy Kane tape, Taste of Chocolate back in '91, and hip hop's consumed my life ever since. I was very one track minded. No other genre existed until I was like 19 or 20 and started opening my mind to other genres. And yeah, I started off as a DJ when I was 16. Put those down when I was about 26. Still a vinyl collector, as you can see behind me. Always wanted to be a producer and get my hands on a drum machine, which I finally have. So I'm just currently a student to the MPC. But yeah, once I put down the turntables, picked up the pad and the pad, 12 mix or no, six or seven mixtapes and two EPs and a couple of singles later, here I am.
Okay, that's cool. That was gonna be my next question because I like to always like to ask people outside of the United States what how what got them into hip hop, and what got them trying to do hip hop professionally. I guess it's the same thing that I live in Detroit, and I'm sure people in New York when stuff first started, they find some guy in Detroit that's in the hip hop. I know they want to know, how did you find this? So I always ask people when I speak to people from Belgium, France, even though you like right around the way in Canada, I'm always interested to hear the story of what made you get into hip hop.
Yeah, I love hearing those stories too. I went to Cuba in 2020 and hearing the stories about how hip hop came to the island was really interesting. If you were from the south end of Cuba, it was more Jamaican and reggae influence because it was closer to Jamaica. But if you were in the northern part of the island, you were closer to Miami, so they were putting the antennas up and stealing some of the radio signals from the States down in Miami, and they were very influenced by hip hop. So it just depended on where you went on the island. One island you see dreads, and the other island you'd see just baggy clothes and just your regular American hip hop influence. So myself, like, yeah, Big Daddy Kane was definitely one of the ones that like got me becoming a hip hop lover, along with like LL Cool J, Rakim, Cool Mo D, Cool G Rap. But like what got me into making music was just seeing that like hip hop was starting to change once like 50 Cent and Dipset kind of like took hip hop into like the more of the mainstream, perpetual, like just the way that hip music evolves. Like every genre eventually hits that mainstream level, right? Rock and roll once was underground, and so on and so forth. So once it became more mainstream, I just was starting to see more and more of a void of the music that I started to like, that I originally fell in love with, which was like 90s style New York or Philly style hip hop. So I just wanted to keep that 90s boom bap and just come with like a positive approach. So I just was seeing that void and just wanted to fill it. But at the end of the day, I just make music for myself with hopes other people can enjoy it. And if I can monetize, then that's just a bonus, right?
The My Detroit Hustle.com podcast is available on all streaming platforms. To find us, just type My Detroit Hustle.com podcast in the search bar on your favorite streaming platform.
Right. Well, before I ask this question, I want you to know, like, I've been aware of hip hop in Canada for a very long time. I'm going to date myself by this statement. You're going to kind of figure out how old I am. But I came to Canada and did a show, one of my first shows, with Maestro Fresh West. That's
The
how
original, man.
that's how far I go back.
That's where it started here in Canada, man.
Right.
I like I said, Big Daddy Kane was my favorite in '91, but I quickly fell in love and had a lot of pride for my Canadian hip hop. And Maestro Fresh West and Micky Me were the two first. You know what I mean? And Micky Me had so much love down in the States and down in Jamaica. She did like a reggae hip hop Megadeth kind of vibe, and it was just original, and so people were digging her all over the world. But like I grew up on like the Cardinal Official, the Ghetto Concept, all of that. And so like when you're talking about Canadian hip hop, man, we can really talk about this shit for hours. I got some shit on vinyl I could show you. Rap Essentials, I don't know if you ever heard about that, but it was like a Canadian hip hop compilation, and it was like the first of its kind, because there was obviously compilations that were coming out with much music like Big Shiny Tunes, but like they weren't representing the hip hop culture, right? So Ivan Berry put together, and Beat Factory Music put together compilations, Rap Essentials Volume 1, 2, Rap Essentials 2000. So like, yeah, they were just compilations of Canada's like greatest talents.
Right. So can you tell us a little bit about what's going on the Toronto scene as far as hip hop right now?
There's so much coming out right now. There's so much good things happening. The city's always buzzing with good talent. There's no doubt about it. That's so Canadian of me to say, no doubt about it. So anyways, there's a really dope MC that's on one of my records, Roshin, How You Feel. He just put out a new album called Essex Boys with his boy Noam. It's really dope. Just went to the release party a couple weekends ago, and the live set was incredible. And the opening acts were dope. Running Gun, if nobody's ever heard of Running Gun, definitely check them out. Hit me up if you want some links. What else? Some younger talent. Tara Lord. She's killing it with the song Praying and a few other singles. My boy Hype and Type A Records. Tough Dumplings on the label. Mindbender. It's crazy. Toronto's a great city, and there's always events going on, and there's always shows going on. And some of the venues here are just so dope. Like Opera House is so dope. Drake just opened up a really cool venue. I think Drake opened up called History. So many dope venues. Well worth a visit. Toronto's well worth a visit.
My Detroit Hustle. My Detroit Hustle. My Detroit Hustle. This a hustle man beat. My Detroit Hustle. My
I believe the first place I became aware of you is from your Facebook group, New Music Tuesdays.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the New Music Tuesday movement.
New Music Tuesday was started just to help indie artists, but also to help spread the word about Indie Canada, a streaming app that I'm a part of. So, like, at the end of the day, indie artists get paid like a fraction of a penny per stream. Most of the time, they got to, pay to perform or sell an X amount of tickets and get a very small cut of those ticket sales. When essentially they could just be putting on their own show and making more off the door and letting the venue keep the bar. So like it's just so hard for indie artists to make money so that they can have merch that has profit margins that's they're able to put back into their music. So even promoting is expensive, so you pay for a promoter, they promote your music. If you're promoting a show, promoting a music video, wherever the case may be, so much money goes into writing, recording, pushing the music. Artists need to be paid more and better. So starting New Music Tuesday was to help indie artists get their name out there. I've come up with marketing strategies using Facebook tools that help you grow the group, and they've helped my like double my size in literally like 6 months. And so they give you tools like @everyone and pinning posts to the top of the page and being featured. So you can use that to get people to help grow your group. So I trade off @everyone's and pinning it at the top of the page for group invites. And I asked them to specifically add music lovers, artists, DJs, producers, and so on. So it's been really working, and it's really helping the group grow, but also helping getting the word of Indie Canada out there, because Indie Canada's going to be paying indie artists more per stream, going to be paying you, sharing ad revenue with you for video streams. Like you don't have to chase YouTube ever-changing monetization statuses, right? They're always changing it, right? It's never been consistently something for more than a couple of years. It's always they're coming up with a new way to make it harder to monetize your videos. And not only that, you can say one thing or have an image in it at any point where they'll give it a reason to monetize. Somebody posted a mixtape called Taliban or a song called Taliban, and it immediately got banned from my New Music Tuesday group. So that being said, the same thing will happen on YouTube. If you have a song and you put it on YouTube and you spend all this money making a music video, but you might say one or two things in it that gets your shit banned. So with our app, you're going to be able to have a split of all the membership fees and all the ad revenues. And it's going to be a split 80-20. And we're not going to be allowing any major label artists to submit their music, because therefore we'll be able to actually share money with the indie artists so to get paid fairly. When you go to like these Spotify and these Apple offices and you walk into the office, you're not going to be able to negotiate being paid better if you don't have the streams, the draw at shows, the merch sales. You have to literally go in there with a business plan and be like, I don't want to be paid a fraction of a penny no more. I'm going to pull my music from your platform unless you pay me more per stream. But if you don't have the numbers, they're going to laugh at you and walk you out the office, right? So here at Indie Canada, the business platform and the whole idea is the more users we have, the more music we have on there, the better it is for everybody. Selling ad space just to have money coming in, as well as membership fees. And it's just going to be like any other app, right? But it's going to be the best of all worlds: best of MySpace, best of YouTube, best of Spotify, best of Facebook. There's going to be some social media aspects to it. So anybody that's curious about it, please check it out. It's definitely an app worth looking into if you're an indie artist, especially if you want to stay indie.
Okay. And while we're on the subject, is Indie Canada, am I eligible if I'm an artist in Detroit or New York, or is that just a Canadian thing, or is that open to everybody?
Great question. Any genre or anyone from anywhere in the world can submit their music. You just can't be signed to a major label. That's the only catch about our app. Once you're signed to a major label, if you still wanted to submit your music, you'd have to like get the legal paperwork from your label to allow them to allow you to put your music on our app.
Okay.
Stop by MyDetroitHustle.com today.
Okay. Now, I understand you are also, well, I've heard some of your music. You're also a artist. Can you go through some of your discography and tell us about your music?
Yeah, from early about 2010, 2011, I started taking music more serious and putting mixtapes out. So over a span of like 6, 7 years, I put out about half dozen mixtapes. And then in 2018, I wanted to take my music even more serious. So I started to get them professionally mixed and mastered, and no more jacked beats. Because like back in the mixtape days, I was mixing and mastering stuff myself, jacking beats off of YouTube, but also having original beats on those mixtapes. And then so just constantly just leveling up. And so dropped my first EP in 2018 called World Demise. Ended up doing like a full release, and getting vinyl and CDs made. Almost sold out of the first original pressing. The 5-year anniversary just passed in January, and so I have a new 5-year anniversary, a whole new set of colors. So they're all super rare runs, like super limited runs. Each color is only like 10 or 12 of each color. So definitely take a look into that. It's a 12-inch single, Concrete Jungle, featuring Young Drama, produced by Bozak Morris. On the B side, we got Money Over Bitches, produced by MS Productions. And then I just released a new album. It was a follow-up, Survival EP. That's been getting so much more traction because I've invested so much more money into the project, getting music videos done professionally. We actually won an award for Forbidden Fruit, best hip-hop video at the Canadian Independent Music Video Awards. And then not only that, the extra support from the DJs, respected DJs. Got played on Shady 45 by DJ Eclipse, been on heavy rotation on Beatminer's radio app, DJ IE. So that's just been gaining me so much traction, getting my music in countries that I don't have the reach necessarily, right? So like Japan, Germany, UK, United States, these are all places that are starting to get way more streams from as I get more DJ plays. So like always respect the DJ, always respect the process, and if you don't grind, then don't expect to get anything out of this music business.
Right, right. And are you doing a lot of shows there?
Yeah, I did some shows last summer. Things got quiet over the winter for me, but I've got some more booked now. I got a show coming up in September at a 3-day music festival called Gussapalooza in Cookstown, September 15th and 16th and 17th. I'm not sure exactly my time slots yet, but I definitely will be announcing those when the time comes. I did just get the accepted letter like 3 weeks ago. So just waiting to hear what the lineup is going to be, what day I'm performing on, if I'm performing on multiple days. I performed there last year and I was able to perform multiple days because there was also an after hours stage. And that's kind of just like first come, first serve. And you get to rock the stage at like 3 a.m. So it was a good time. It's camping, RVs, mixed genres of music. So it was cool, just because you gain fans from artists or gain fans from places you normally wouldn't, right? People that are listening to rock and stuff mainly and not really into hip hop might fall in love with your music, right? So it was good to perform there last year, and I'm glad to be back again this year. We're gonna fucking kick ass, and I might be having another one booked. I'm just waiting on word back from a friend of mine.
Okay. To check out the interviews with dope artists, Big Bruh, Jay Roberts, and Sidney Poitier. All you gotta do is go to YouTube and search My Detroit Hustle TV 6438. While you're there, make sure to subscribe to the channel, share a video, and leave a comment or two. My Detroit Hustle TV. Now, you have a very unique situation for MC. Most MCs have if you haven't reached the level where you're making a lot of money off your music, most MCs have a day job that sucks. You have a unique situation. you actually have a job that is in the industry that you're in, and you're basically the plug. Tell us
Yeah.
about your day job.
All right. So I always try to tell people, always work for that employee discount, man. If you're working towards something outside of your career, and your day job is just something, just a means to an end to pay the bills and to reach your goals, always try to find a job that you can work for that employee discount. I work at a vinyl pressing plant, and I've been in the industry for about 7 years now. I originally started working at a pressing plant called Microform, and I was there for about a year and a half, and then I ended up jumping ship to the company that sold them the presses. And so the company that I work for, our main bag is selling the presses. We build and sell presses. So what they did was, record pressing's been done manually for about 75, 80 years. And so they took the press and they did a fully automated press. And so what that does is cut the cycle time down in half. So they've been selling, like before I started working there, they sold about 40 to 50 presses all over the world. And then now that I've been there for about 5.5 years, they've sold presses. Like, I've lost count how many presses they've sold all over the world, but we have presses pretty much in every fucking continent. So we press records as well. It's not our main bag, but because it's not our main bag, it's not what we focus on. We focus on producing the machines and selling them. So we have like a great turnaround. So it's easy for me to be the plug and extend my hand to other artists, and they can get their foot in the door and not have to wait like an 8-month turnaround. Some vinyl pressing plants have a very long turnaround time. And the reason for that is because if you think about it, you have to like consider how many presses they have on the floor. Is there big major label coming in and pressing, 20,000 Drake albums or, XYZ. So when that happens, if they're doing a large job for Drake, that can take up the majority of the presses on the floor, and then leaves 1 or 2 presses only doing the small jobs of all the indie artists or whatever. So it makes it easy for me to extend my hand, get people in the door. We have like a 2-month, 3-month turnaround, but that's if we have all the pieces in our hand. And a lot of people don't understand like what all goes into pressing vinyl and all like the costs that are involved. So you can't just take like digital masters, for instance, and get that translated to vinyl. It's not gonna jive when you put the needle on the record. So you have to get your masters specifically mixed and mastered for vinyl. So there's a cost. Our company personally doesn't do that. We can suggest somebody if need to be, or you can find your own person. But I wouldn't suggest finding somebody like going to like watch YouTube videos to do that. You'd want to get somebody with experience, because you don't want to waste the money, because it is an expensive process, like I said. So once you have it mixed and mastered for vinyl, you go and you send it to somebody that's going to cut the music into a lacquer. And a lacquer is a soft plastic that the engineer is cutting the music into, and then it gets express shipped to the next stage, which is electroplating, which is making the metal plates with the music on it. So the reason why they express ship it is because it is a soft plastic. It degrades over time, and the quality of the music can degrade as well if you press it if you try to make the plates like 6 months down the road. So it's best to have the money up front to get at least that done, and then you can move forward about buying jackets, labels, and all that stuff. Because now we're talking like a couple of $1,000s already, because most vinyl pressing plants have a minimum. Like we do a minimum of 200 records. So if you're doing a minimum of 200 records and you're paying for lacquers, stampers, jackets, labels, plastic, assembly, you end up looking at like $2,000 for a 12-inch record. It'll be a little bit cheaper if you're doing like a 7-inch record. But then again, if you want to make it fancy, have gatefold jackets or have endless loops at the end of your record or any of these upgrades, it can get really expensive. So you won't even break even. You will probably break even on 200 records, and then your second pressing is where you maximize your profits, because you won't have to pay for the lacquer and the stamper, and you usually will have jackets and labels left over, because they have a minimum of what you can buy. Like 1,000 labels is the minimum. So if you're pressing 200 records, you still have 800 labels, right? So it just gets costly, and then you got to think about moving the units as well, right? If you don't have a big fan base that are loyal, that buy all your merch, you got to really get out there and hit those shows and sell those records and sell yourself. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing.
Right. Well, you got a lot of stuff going on, my man. Like I said, when I talked to you earlier, I believe we're going to end up having to have another conversation. You got so much stuff going on. You got so much. I don't even know if they are ready to digest all that you said so far.
We out here, man.
Is there anything else you want the public to know about right now?
I got a new single that's coming out, Drinks in the Air, April 25th on Indie Canada exclusively, and it'll be coming out on all other streaming platforms July 4th. So it's going to be a good summer. Stream me there if you fucks with my music, because I get paid more for my streams. So not only am I a client, I'm the president. Sorry, I had to drop the Biggie line. Other than that, if you fucks with me and you like my music, please support me by checking out my merch, my Bandcamp page. I got limited edition colored vinyl. I got t-shirts, I got CDs, and free stickers with any purchase. And again, thank you for having me, man. You're a real one. I appreciate you letting me speak my mind and letting people know what I can do for them. Because at the end of the day, it's each one teach one and help the next man. So I just want to do that. So if anybody out there is seriously interested in vinyl, Indie Canada, New Music Tuesday, just holler at me, and it all starts in the conversation in the DMs.
That's what's up. Let the people know your socials and stuff so they can reach you.
All right, you can find me on Facebook. Devious One is my artist page. DEVIOUS ONE. On Instagram, it's a bit of a different spelling because somebody took the fucking actual spelling, but it's DEEVEUSWON. And then you can check out my YouTube channel, which is Prospect Ave. Prospect is spelled with a K instead of a C.
That's what's up. Well, thanks for stopping by. We'll be talking to you real soon.
I appreciate you, man. Take it easy down in Detroit, man.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
My Detroit Hustle.